when the department is more fully resourced, to ensure that we therefore have more bodies focused on the diaspora, and more human resources will of course build better cooperation. So we're looking forward to this manifesting itself fully, and it's starting out under the strong leadership of Mr. Downer, who you all know, and if you don't, you should know, because he certainly has been a real stalwart of ensuring diaspora engagement, and we are constantly talking about how we can do more, go further and do more. As you also know, or may know by now, in its call to action, the Economic Growth Council identified as one of Jamaica's 8 growth planks, harnessing the power of the diaspora. And to support and operationalize this growth pillar, the ministry has, together with the EGC, developed the Diaspora Engagement Task Force. So this task force is chaired by a diasporian, Dr. David Panton, and its membership is comprised of representatives from the diaspora as well as representatives across the ministry's departments and agencies that have particular responsibility and linkages with the diaspora. So their work continues with respect to the review of recommendations made by the EGC, including the development of an immigration services card for the diaspora, as well as spearheading the technical work that's needed to optimize how we engage. We're actually developing a new way. You know, you've heard me from the get-go speaking about the fact that we want to expand how far we reach into the diaspora, because there's so many of us that want to connect but can't quite figure out how, and how we get that message far and wide. Because if we could truly harness not only the power that's in this room, but beyond us, imagine what we can do together. So at the Diaspora Conference, we will share, I think it's 2 of the major projects that are being worked on now to enhance our networking and to enhance our the leveraging of technical capacity within the diaspora, as well as investments. So those are things that I'm sure you would want to hear about when they're new and breaking, because you'll also have the opportunity at that point to share your perspectives about how we could make it even better. You know, many hands, more than one fresh brain and fresh pair of eyes always makes a good idea better. So we're looking forward to having you there to discuss how we can expand or enhance rather our engagement program. Fellow Jamaicans and friends, I really am excited about this year's conference, and Claudette, you did a great job in telling people practically some of the things that have come out of conference, because, you know, we always hear, you know, oh, but, you know, it's a talk shop, etc. And there is a lot of talking that goes on. we can't deny that, you know, but the fact is that the talk is about action, and what happens in between the 2 years, as well as what can take place there. So it is an important coming together. So I'm excited about it, not only because it's my first as a portfolio minister, but because it also coincides with so many other commemorative landmarks. So hundreds of Jamaicans will be coming from across the world to Kingston to share in our vision and renewed energy around the restoration and redevelopment and revitalization of Kingston, our beloved capital city. We want you to come home and share this vision, to share how it is we believe this city can come alive again with the history, with its proud history, as well as the potential that it holds. I mean, I try to remind people, remember it used to be 2 US to 1 Jamaica, it used to be 2 British pounds to 1 Jamaican dollar, you know. We were strong, economically, socially, and otherwise, and we can be again if we harness our collective powers together, and we can, and we will. It's important to start to see the city with new eyes, because it's this pride that's going to help to regenerate. It's going to help us to stamp out the crime. It's going to help us to build the investment. Where the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, as you know, is going downtown. We'll have the new building. Hopefully ground will be broken within the next 2 months, and thereafter it's a 24-month construction project. We're very much looking forward to that. Grace Kennedy, as you know, is expanding their home, and they're also building a huge parking area, which you know is fundamental to the success of downtown, because one of the biggest problems, where do you park? Grace Kennedy is helping us solve that issue. UN House has now moved downtown, so all of our representative UN missions are moving into one building in under an MOU with the government, where we provide the space and they maintain the space. So it's a joint venture in essence, and it will help bring more economic activity downtown. So these things are happening, and with the conference, it's coming together, and we want you to come home and be a part of that. As you know, Kingston is this year celebrating its 145th year as our capital city, and Jamaica is also celebrating our 55th year of independence. So having the conference around this time just helps not only bring you home for some of the fun. Maybe you can stay for Grand Gala. We're hoping that. But if you can't stay that long, you should still be catching the end of the festival competitions, song competition, dance competition, seeing all the best of our culture. So we want you to be a part of that. As you know, the Jamaica 55 Independence celebrations are being planned and spearheaded by my colleague, Cabinet Minister, Minister Grange, as well as her Jamaica 55 Secretariat team. And we're trying to work together to align conference activities. I know there's going to be a formal launch reception for the independence celebration, and that I'm sure will have more glitz and glamour than this one. Because you know when Minister Grange comes, she comes with style. so I encourage you to listen out for that invitation and that rallying call, and come out and share in the experience. So as was indicated earlier, the Diaspora Conference remains a critical platform for diaspora and Jamaica to work together. And it is entirely appropriate rather, because the benefits are mutual, that we have entitled the theme, Partnering for Growth. You'll hear a bit more about the program later, but be assured that it will include the opportunity to hear about investment opportunities at all levels, because we believe that this is a part of what partnership is all about. Moving from the encouragement of remittances and philanthropy, to both of which continue to be of huge importance to us, but also seeing real opportunities for investment in Jamaica, so that when we grow, you and your families also grow in wealth from those investments. So we really want to present opportunities for partnership in this way as well. Learning from each other, as Claudette shared with us, when a good idea comes on board, other diaspora regions can share and learn from each other. And not only for new ideas, but what's working. What are the challenges that have presented themselves, and how have they been conquered, or how can they be conquered? These are things that sometimes can better be solved not on iPhone FaceTime, but real FaceTime. And we want to encourage you to participate in that. But family and friends, it would be remiss of me to come to speak about Diaspora Conference and not share with you some of the strides that we've made over the past year as a country. Jamaica has moved up the ranking of the 2016-17 Global Competitiveness Report, moving from 86th to 75th position. And we've been growing every quarter of the last year, and that growth is projected to strengthen. We have significantly reduced our debt to GDP ratio, although we still have a ways to go. You know, it's 115%, but it is down from 140. We have done the unprecedented, which is to have negotiated a new precautionary standby agreement with the IMF 6 months before the extended fund facility, which was in place before, expired. This is entirely unprecedented. We've met all the targets, and we are now under the new precautionary standby agreement. We have transitioned the EPOC oversight, although the head has changed, and we have also expanded expanded governmental oversight of our transformation by appointing PSTOC, which is the Public Sector Transformation Oversight Committee. We've been talking about public sector reform for years. It's now going to be done. It's being projectized, it's going to bring efficiencies to government, and when efficiencies come to government, those efficiencies translate themselves into efficiencies for the private sector to get involved and to lead growth effectively. I want to share as well that in last October, business confidence and consumer confidence were the highest that they have ever been in the 15 years since Jamaica started to measure business and consumer confidence. These are just absolutely fantastic things which are happening now. From a technology perspective, not only are we the first country in the Caribbean to have an open data policy, but we're making it work. So in Jamaica, you can now access 256 government websites without paying for internet. We've also launched four free Wi-Fi hotspots in Mandela Park, at Devon House, in Olympic Way, and in St. William Grant Park, and in the rural areas next to come in St. Anne, St. James, Junction, St. Elizabeth, as well as Mandeville. So we're ensuring that people at all levels and communities can connect. So it's not just about telling people, that there are new ways to pay your taxes and there are new ways to get informed. It's giving them the ability to access that information. When you speak about a Tablets for Schools program and you wonder, well, what happens when they go home? Now they can connect. So the ministry is rolling out, Ministry of Science, Technology and Energy is rolling out in a serious way, using the Universal Access Funds to ensure that we're bringing technology to our people. So we are positive about the path that we're on, and our private sector partners and our multilateral partners are positive as well. But we are even more positive about where we can be as a country if we all pull together, if we all work together. And that's why we want you to come home in July, for us to talk about that and for us to put some new plans in place. I want to assure you that we're really focusing in a very concrete way about how we ensure that the recommendations coming out of conference are measurable, that they are achievable, and that they can be achieved within a reasonable timeline. And the intention is not just to create a large list, a laundry list of things which people think should be done. We want to agree on a matrix of actions that will be implemented and that we can be accountable for. I won't speak about the very large list of things which remain undone. Claudette? Yeah. There's a large list of things that remain undone, right? So if we get blocked on that list, we actually won't have a conference because we'll still be talking about that list. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So we're going to do a new list. A new list. All right, a new list. This is the list that we're going to do. Okay. That's the plan. Right. Okay. You heard it here first. Yes. Some things were accomplished, and we're working on pulling together, in an attractive and informative way, that the list of what was accomplished coming out of the last conference, so that you can map back. But there are a fair number of things that regretfully just weren't. And I think to be realistic, pragmatic, and to move forward, we're going to just have to draw a line and say, all right, let's revisit this. What are we committed to getting done now? And that's how we'll make the conference work in the next couple of months. Just before I close, I want to use this opportunity to recognize the work that is being done by my ministry, by our embassies, high commissions, and consulates general, as well as our public and private sector partners. And in particular, I must, of course, mention our legacy partners, Grace Kennedy, Jamaica National, J. Ray and Nephew, and VMBS. We have new amazing partners as well, and you'll hear about them when Mr. Downer shares some of the great packages that we have lined up for you coming into conference time. But as we expand, just like with the diaspora, even while you value those who are new to the team, you really have to always recognize and just hold close those who have been with you from the start. So I want to thank you, Mr. Greenland, and your team at Grace Kennedy, as well as our other legacy partners who have been on the journey with us. I want to also speak about the fact that we are going to be focused on our young people as well in this conference. And we're promoting a process of collaboration between our National Youth Advisory Council as well as our young diasporians, to ensure that we really hear from our young people about how they think we can, in an active and real way, enter into diaspora engagement with our second and third generations, and possibly even beyond. Because it's one thing for more senior generations to speak about it And another thing, to hear from the young people about how they want to connect, what they think will work. And it's probably more likely that that will actually work, that that's the way that we're going to get it done. So I'm very committed to the fact that coming out of this conference, we will have a plan of action for second and third generation engagement. And it will be born of the young people, and that's why it's then going to connect with the young people. So that is something I'm looking forward to as a major outcome. Right, Erin?
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you know, we're trying to create stronger opportunities to grow and realize our fullest mutual potential. And I want to assure you that we value very much the work which you have all been doing over the years. Alumni associations, community-based associations, diaspora task forces from education, health, immigration, new and old task forces. And I've just been told, I have to mention the crime prevention one, but I've just been told that one task force is actually putting forward a playbook, a checklist of things that task forces can do in order to be successful, which I think is going to be a really useful tool for persons who are interested in mobilizing force around something they're passionate about. So, and that will be a way to generate success. So we're looking forward to him bringing that to share at the conference as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, in closing, the conference will be an engaging and productive one, I assure you. I invite those of you who have not yet started to make plans, start. Now's the time. It's going to be great. You're going to hear more about it. And together, I want us to make this a conference with a difference and a conference that makes a difference. Thank you so much for your patience and attention in listening to me. And I see you in Kingston.
Thank you, Minister. This time I'm going to welcome Mr. Lincoln Downer. Mr. Lincoln Downer, when you heard our minister say that you should know him, Mr. Downer was here previously as our vice consul in charge of deportation.
Yes.
And yes, everybody knew Mr. Downer, you know, and he also came back in 2007 to act as our interim Consul General while we were figuring out our then Consul General who was coming in office. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome to the podium Mr. Lincoln Downer, Director or Acting Director of Diaspora Affairs Department.
Thank you, Robert. While we get set up, let me acknowledge Sir Kenneth Hall, Senator the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, Consul General Deans, Ambassador Rattray, High Commissioner Miller, Mr. Sievewright, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, friends. I'm pleased to be here with you this evening to share that in 13 weeks, we will be hosting the Jamaica 55 Diaspora Conference. And it promises to be exciting, engaging, and indeed invigorating. Now, for a conference of this nature, we need partners. And as you heard before, Mr. Greenland represented the legacy partners. We also